rehabilitate these terrorists in Nigeria. Sowore had this to say after appearing in court today over the case between Nedinwoko, who is suing Omoyele Sowore for defamation, right? Over a publication done by Sahara reporters a while back, I think from 2022, he said, but the case continued to get postponed, adjourned, and, due to non-appearance or not showing up. We should already use that chance again to tell us, as it is about the contraption from the legal, from the citizens to the oppressors to the legal system, right? This way.
All of them said about this is 12 criminal case and other two civil cases that we filed against Facebook and Twitter, the DSS, and all of our versions. There are plenty, they keep growing and growing. But today's case has been around since 2022. It was a case filed by Nedinwoko, content creator, senator, who claimed that Star reporters and myself defended him. But they haven't received an arraignment because it was filed on the basis of malice. And I think even as bad as the court wants to make it, they understand all of this nonsense. So again today, there was no arraignment. That was come out on November 20th, 2025. Come and listen to more preliminary objections and obsessions. But that's not the issue. We don't have a problem with it. I just want people to know that don't be worried for me. This is what we are designed to do. We are here to fight against oppression. We are here to demolish those people who say this country will not progress in our lifetime. And we are here to continue to mobilize against impunity. Whether they come from the president, the senator, the policeman, the IGP of police, DJ of DSS, or in some places they come from priests, pastors, imams. There's nothing we haven't seen in this year, and it's especially this year. This year has been an interesting year. And I predicted it in January when they sent me a letter to appear before the police at the FIT. That this is going to be an interesting year. So we're trudging on, no doubt about that. So that's where we are.
Okay, so if you have to look at and then trending cases, why don't always what would you say is a systemic
A lot of people didn't know me until very recently. In fact, I was doing an interview with a foreign journalist last week. It was Radio Just Aware. And she said, what's the problem with you and when I said I've been fighting government in 1989, he said, wow, I was born in 1995. And you're still fighting. So I think what happens is that the moment you have an uncompromising position against oppression, against corruption, impunity, and everything that is wrong with governance in Nigeria, they throw everything at you. You don't do that, yes. You don't do that to other people who don't challenge authority. They might respond to others in press statements. They don't respond to me. They lob grenades at me, And you know that there was a time I was shot by a police officer in this country. There was a time my nose was broken, my brother killed. And by the way, which is a visual opportunity to talk about my brother's case, they called us last week, the police in those states, that they finally want to try the killers of my brother. And asked us to come to court. We dispatched a family member there. They said, oh, there's a promotion exam for judges. They postponed it again. They confessed to my brother that one of the guys they claim was one of his has died in detention. So, if the person that died in detention is not there, how do you successfully try the other two? But I can guarantee you that the reason they did that is because they've seen that the high-profile things that are done against me is going to attract scrutiny over every other thing. Because I'm speaking about it consistently. So that's the nature of it. So what you are saying is as a result of our refusal to give up on Nigeria. And a lot of people say, and you might want to agree with them sometimes, that, oh, is Nigeria worth dying for? Well, the truth today is that if you don't die for Nigeria, Nigeria will kill you. So you better choose, how to die. It doesn't matter. And it goes beyond even just dying for Nigeria. Because Nigeria is such an embarrassment to humanity that wherever you go, Nigeria will follow you there. Yes. I was reading on my way here, a Nigerian that was deported to Ghana. They wouldn't even give him the privilege of being deported to his own country. They deported him to Ghana. Ghana deported him to Togo. And then you have to find how worse can it get? And when we challenge these people, of course, they do all kinds of things against us.
There has been terrorist invasion.
Nigeria is so corrupt, which I regret the day I was born in this country. It's unfair. This is unfair now. This is unfair. Nigeria is so corrupt, which I regret the day I was born in this country. It's unfair. This is unfair now. This is unfair. Nigeria is so.
Sowore said, if you are not ready to die for Nigeria, Nigeria is really ready to kill you, or Nigeria will kill you eventually. So last, all die. Now die. So don't waste the death. Come and die for Nigeria. You know? Or Nigeria follows you everywhere you go to. In such a way that it's like a bad stench, right? That follows you everywhere and it just won't leave. I don't know how that is like. I just imagine it. Right? So, but what's more? For those who still feel like, keep fighting. Ooh, I'm fighting for who? You got to I'm fighting for myself, or I'm fighting for the future of my children. Okay. But there are others who are willing, without force, without coercion or anything, who are more than willing to sell that your future and that your children's future for a pot of porridge. And they will do it again and again, live with the consequences, or even die with the consequences. But they will do it again and again. Unfortunately, a system that has been programmed that way makes it more or less like a fix. But Sowore said more. The vintage Sowore in his will, right? Here. Oh, did you hear the part of that his brother that got killed by some kidnappers then, the Fulani terrorists? And then they came back to say they've arrested them and they've charged them to court in Edo. Remember? That's the one he just told us now, that they said one of them died in custody, which will now make it difficult to try the remaining two. And he, Sowore, is very much aware of the game they are playing. Judicial system of Nigeria. Listen to this other part.
I think 2 days ago we heard that traditional ruler arrested one of the youths that were protesting against the insecurity in the state. And right now, I think they're still on rampage.
While I was in there, I still got another message of 5 people kidnapped and a few people killed. The bread seller was killed even today. I had already said it, and you can just look at the record from my that Nigeria has failed to the point that the leaders of Nigeria are happy that there's more and more territory taken by terrorists and bandits, so that they don't have to govern. It's the best excuse you can have to say, I would have done a route, but terrorists are taking over the place. But the question you should ask yourself is, what is the definition of terrorism? And if you look at the definition of terrorism very well, it is the Nigerian government that's actually a terrorist organization. If you doubt me, go and ask the judge in Canada who ruled that the APC and PDP are terrorist organizations, including Nigerian police, was ruled as a terrorist organization. So, what else can I tell you?
Sir, Obasanjo represents Nigeria's population growth is not happening by the year 2050. Boko Haram will be a chance. Do you stand with this?
Obasanjo has no leg to stand on when we talk about population. How many kids Obasanjo has? He has a kid almost the size of a city. But that's not the issue. The issue is that population is not a barrier if the country is well governed, if the leaders really well governed. The most, prosperous countries today are the countries that have the highest population, China, India. But it will be a problem. What he should have said is that if you have a huge population that are not dedicated, that are not taking care of, Boko Haram will have one. Even if the population of your country is 200,000 people, and you have useless leaders, there will still be Boko Haram in that country. But if you have upward, mobile, well-educated population, you are ready for prosperity. Go and ask China, India. And Nigeria has 200 million people that are ready to take on the rest of the world. But certain things has to be done. But I don't like to discuss Obasanjo because I don't want to fail this country to where it is today. They'll just come around and pick microphone whenever they like because the country has not punished them for the evil they did to the country.
Like what section of Nigeria are alleging that there's genocide against Christians? Do you share in that view? And even the US is also maintaining that.
There's genocide against the poor in this country. There's genocide against Muslims in this country. There's genocide against Christians in this country. There's genocide against children in this country. To now separate it and say maybe it's one religion or the other. Interestingly, Nigeria doesn't count or do DNA of people who are killed. They determine whether they are carrying a Bible or a Quran. So, the number of people that were abducted on our road yesterday, did anybody find out whether they are Christians? Whereas the US can nitpick symbolically to say, because they have policies, definitely. They say, there are genocides against Christians in Nigeria. Why is the US not taking the same position in Gaza? That there's genocide against Muslims. Right? So there's international hypocrisy about that. In a country where they are killing 6,000 people a day, you do not designate the killer as a genocidal government. But you are here. Please, let's be careful. I'm not in any way defending what is happening in Nigeria. I'm just saying that the problem with Nigeria has nothing to do with religion. It's complete irresponsible leadership and insecurity that kills everybody. What about when the terrorists go and kill people in the mosque? When you talk about insecurity in this country today, it happens more in the north, in the Muslim part of the world. That's the truth. That's why they go to mosque. I think they killed about 35 people in a mosque in Gaza. And the people who killed them were not Christians. They're probably people who identify as Muslims. So, but the truth is that we like to water down the responsibility of our leaders. Right? This gives them an alibi. And then the US will come with a policy to say we want to protect Christians. Let's bring the big boat and take all the Christians out. Let's see if nobody's getting killed again. The ones that
So go hard small for you to possibly get Sowore in a state where we have no answer to your question, right? He's now a politician, as much as some call him an activist and all that, right? So he's still a politician, or he's becoming a politician in that sense. As blunt as he loves to express himself, at the same time is, I think, is kind of like incautious too. So we'll leave it at that. Okay. There is still talking about this part of the insecurity, which he also mentioned. Like a properly governed country will deal with the criminals who raised arms against the state or by any chance kill anybody, no matter what you call yourself. And if it is an armed group, then they will be called terrorists in that sense. And a working country will deal with them before you begin to compare how many Christians died, how many Muslims did they kill. But this comparison and this competition, there will be no need for it. Because by then, you would have had them crushed from infancy when they're still small. So in Kwara State, where they've been in the news for the past few days. Okay, what do you call it? The people of Kwara North, Kwara South. That's how much it's actually so spread, by the way, in Kwara. So there's a place called the Ukiode, which is the most famous, or recently the most famous part they've attacked. Because other communities who are like smaller communities from around the area, they've had to abandon their homes, like everything, and probably took what they could take. And they've all moved to Ukiode that they initially considered a little bit safe until the terrorists came and killed the vigilantes that were supposed to be providing them security. So long story short, they've been calling on government to come to their aid because majority of them have left their homes again to God knows where. For those who are left. So their state governor, on the day when this issue was very, very hot, he was in a very jollifying with Tifnumbu and Oples Uzodijo, Oples Uzodigba. Then he returned back to Ilorin and took a trip 2 days after to Okeode, precisely. Met with some of these community leaders and other and promised them that, they will provide them security now and everybody probably will be going back to their houses soon. And that was like yesterday. And the report now is that a police officer has been kidnapped in that taxis while another held captive, which the community had already raised 20 million naira ransom, has been confirmed killed. All of this in the last 48 hours. But their governor was there yesterday as he was briefly captured.
So Bale was waiting. So Said was coming to get the Bale to General Prison. So when he put the Bale in front of him, the Nabaya so they didn't go to that hotel. So they were taking them to that man. Now we give their food. They went there, that's why the Bale is sleeping. So they entered the place to man because of that. Because they believe Falola, the leader of my forest guard, he was staying there. Falola, that was so the fire attacks. When they are coming, they lock one, they kill the. So Bale.
The usual. Okay. They had to meet in the middle of the road, somewhere, like the governor who came to come and inspect, because the place is near deserted, you know what I mean? Like people have left. But to make it look like he's walking, right? So he brought like retinue of security to protect himself, of course. So then they are now telling him how they believe the attack happened, how they killed the Bale, how they killed the vigilantes, how they blocked the road, this or that. Okay, like, wow. Okay. Pretending like he's probably shocked and would do everything to make sure that it never happened again. But it's going to happen again. It is going to happen again. Right? And then the next thing is probably they're going to start peace talk where these Fulani terrorists will now officially come out. Like we have been seeing in the recent time, right? They will officially come out their bikes to come and sign peace deal with the people of Okeode. So I've got list of the communities which have come under their regular attacks that you will barely see a soul in some of this community. Barely. Do you get that? In this Kwara, north and south. You have Ologomo town, Ajegunle town, Agban town, Agban. Then you have Alebe, you have Owode, you have Alashoro, you have Alawon, you have the Bankole, Oreke, Gamu, Babanla, Ayetoro. You have the Budo,